Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our first topic of discussion for today's episode, and we're going to be talking about the initiative that was launched by Al-Azhar to launch a multilingual platform about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. At a ceremony marking the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, has said that Al-Azhar launches a global platform to introduce the Prophet of mercy and messenger of humanity in many languages to the world. And he also said, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, that there will be also an international competition about the morals of Prophet Muhammad, adding that the Prophet used to forgive those who did harm to him during his lifetime. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Hassan Wagih, and he's a professor of international negotiations. A very good morning, Dr. Hassan, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, team. How are you?
All good. Thank you so much, Doctor. Doctor, first of all, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, in his speech marking Prophet Muhammad's birth anniversary, said that Islam's principles protect the nation from extremism. Can you please shed more light on that?
Of course, when we are talking about this global platform initiated by Al-Azhar, I think this one of the major objectives is to introduce the Prophet to the entire world, but actually the introduction should be there internally and externally. Because if people really know the ethics of the Prophet, they would know how to follow a great symbol, a great figure in so I think the idea of the platform is very important. It would contain information. It would contain opinions. Bernard Shaw said something beautiful, great about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Gandhi said a lot of good things about the Prophet Muhammad. Michael Hart authored a very important book about the most influential leaders in the world, and Michael Hart is not a Muslim, and all of them are not Muslim people, but they are objective. When they are talking about leadership skills, leadership traits, he is putting the Prophet at the list of the most influential 100 leaders. He took scientific criteria, objective criteria, not only religious criteria.
Dr. Hassan, also, if you can tell us, how could we rectify the image of Islam in the face of extremism?
Actually, there are a lot of misinformation and a lot of disinformation, and people fall in the traps of these two things. Actually, especially when it comes to, the whole thing is very, very much complicated when you can see that our area, it's an Arab Islamic area, is being attacked and being aggressed upon. Millions of people were killed in Iraq and in the destruction of Syria. There is forced information war, no doubt about it. So if you distort the religion, it is part of distorting the whole thing and making the whole chaos and making people against people against each other. Once we found some people were trying to make division between Muslims and Christians, sometimes among Muslims and Shiites, and all of these are based on really planned disinformation. And I'm not that conspiracy theory guy in my mentality, but it is there in the reality. Nobody can ignore how many millions were killed in our area because of external factors and putting a lot of elements of chaos inside our societies. So the battle is so big. The battle is so tight from all directions. So we have to confront all these challenges. It is not only the platform here is one of the many platforms that should be there, inside and outside, to collect the opinions and to mobilize the fair-minded people all over the world when we are talking about, yes, evildoers, as the president said, yes, evildoers are everywhere. It is not confined to a particular area or a particular religion. So it's a wide-scale confrontation with the challenges.
Dr. Hassan, also the president has condemned the insults that took place in France against Muslims. How do you see this?
Yes, I think that the message is very clear here, and it was very well-rounded when we have the speech of the president, the speech of the Grand Imam, and the speech of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The three of these speeches deliver a very well system-thinking message from different directions, and I think it was well done. And I think, yes, when it comes to France, I think let us give France a very sincere, instead of, it is easy all the time to escalate. It is very easy all the time to brag about if even someone did something bad, the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us how to be containing and how to be strong, but at the same time, let us not de-escalate. Those people, when he came victorious in Mecca, and he could have done anything about those people who insulted him, who hurt his feeling, who wanted to kill him, who considered him atheist, what are you going to do with us? He said, اذهبوا فأنتم الطلقاء, which means go, you are free. Tolerance, reparation, all these are from the ethics of the Prophet. So I think that if we give a chance to reconsider their views, and the President said, I hope that everyone would reconsider and revisit his views. I think that the problem is that people there are doing self-defeating strategy. How? If the cartoon really pissed off and is against and very aggressive and against every Muslim, if the policymakers there wanted to handle their situation, of course they are right to handle the situation. If they have a conflict with a country like Turkey and the Macron-Erdogan battle is there, yes, fine. This is politics. But if you insult every Muslim, 1 billion and a half Muslims, I think this is self-defeating. People would not look at these small things inside your country, or that you have a conflict with another country like Turkey, but it became mismanagement of the conflict because you opened up a very, very unnecessary front. You opened up a very long front for you. Why you do for yourself that? And why you think that belonging to the Republic, to the French Republic, is to adhere and adopt the cartoon? And this is our cartoon. This is really weird and unbelievable. I cannot imagine this is a policy to be based on that. You know, Muhammad Abdu, the Azharite scholar, the well-known Azharite scholar, who went to Paris long time ago, he said what? He said, I have seen Muslims without Islam because of the great behavior, the fair-minded, the civilized behavior. So he gave them, he was so fair to them by saying that, and we have been reiterating his statements for a long period of time. Paris should be there, should be like the days of Muhammad Abdu, when you have different people, different orientations, and not extremism, and not cartoon-oriented state. I think that we have, from a sincere point of view, I advise the French who really adopted this extremism to stop it, because you cannot do that for yourself and for us. We don't want this escalation to go in a very spiral way, and it could be a crisis twice, and it could be a crisis that nobody can manage. I think this is not wise for everyone in the world.
Dr. Hassan, also speaking about the president's comments, He has called for following the Prophet's steps in working. What do you think is the significance of this?
Actually, the significance, as I've said, is that if we really try to get out of our behavior, all of us are fallible. We do mistakes. If we can reconsider what we are doing, if we look at how the Prophet behaved, because he was guided by God. So we are not like the Prophet, but we can follow his steps. We can follow his ethics. We can reconsider and revisit our views in relation to him, peace be upon him.
Yes, Dr. Hassan, also Al-Azhar has announced the launch of the multilingual platform about the Prophet, peace be upon him, as I mentioned in my introduction. How would this reveal the Prophet's manners to the whole world?
I think this is a very smart move by the Grand Imam and by Al-Azhar. Al-Azhar role should be international as it is internal, but the international role of Al-Azhar is very important. And I think when we have this multilingual platform, it is very important because we have been talking to each other for a long period of time, but we are not talking to the other. We have to face this situation by trying to talk to others and to talk while we are training our imams and our people who really talk in the foreign ministry and etc. about the challenge of cross-cultural communication. Cross-cultural communication is a science. It's an iceberg of knowledge. And people take courses in this. And I think we should add this platform as we should say, should add it to our diplomatic institutes. I think there is something called in the world now the cross-cultural communication challenge. We have to address it, and I think the platform is a start to handle and to go deep into that level, which is complicated, scientific, and it needs training, and it needs a great deal of knowledge.
Dr. Wagih, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a unique person, known for his nobility and honesty, even before the revelation started. If you can tell us about the Prophet's manners, which we need to pass on to our society today.
Actually, the most important thing is tolerance. Tolerance and perseverance and being calm, knowing how to do an effective dialogue, not to hurt the feelings of others. Actually, there is no compulsion in religion also. This is a maxim that is very important. So when we see extremists and people and fanatic people who really to impose their own way of thinking and they try to attach that to the Holy Quran and to the Prophet, and as if you are talking to people who are divine by nature. No, they are human. And I think we should learn from the Prophet how he dealt with people as a human being, despite the fact that he was guided by God. But when it comes to dealing with others, yes, he said, خاطبوا الناس على قدر عقولهم, which means talk to people according to their status, to their level of understanding, to their background. So I think a lot of things could be said about how to make our dialogue and our negotiation in a far more better place where there are fruits out of that. There is an outcome out of that. Rather than people talking at each other, people don't listen to each other, whether internally or externally, actually.
Doctor, what about the lessons that we should learn from the Prophet, peace be upon him, in facing the current challenges?
Yes, he should be calm. He should know that he should not be drawn to traps. Actually, the Prophet, when he left to Medina, and he was received by many people, and he became strong there. But he made a truce between him and the atheists of Mecca, and the people on the second year of his stay there asked him to go and to trim the behavior of those people who are aggressing upon him. And he said, everything in the right time, and he did not fall in the trap of being hasty or of being quick to go to war. This is a very complicated thing and very unneeded thing for humanity. So give peace a chance. I think the first person who really raised that very nice slogan that we hear it from lyrics and from other people all over the world, our Prophet, peace be upon him, raised that slogan when he said, give peace a chance. So I think to handle a crisis with high emotions like the one we are facing, I think that it is very difficult to raise peace, give a chance, but it is the right way to solve the problem. It is very important to learn from the Prophet how he was able in many conflicts to de-escalate, not to escalate. Escalating conflict is easy, it's simple, it's primitive. Everybody can do that. But to do de-escalation process and learn from the Prophet, peace be upon him, how did he de-escalated many of his conflicts in life, I think we can draw many good lessons for people who really deal with crisis management today.
Yes, Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of International Negotiations. We really appreciate your insight, and thank you so much for joining us live on the breakfast show over the phone. Dear viewers, we come to the end of this segment, and now we move on to a quick break, and then we're back to resume the breakfast show live on Nile TV International.